I am here to present to you the complete astrological update on the upcoming new moon in the tropical sign of Capricorn. And this is happening in the sidereal sign of Sagittarius or Dhanu. So that I'll get to at the very end. So let us not waste any time and dive straight into the exposition. Now I am dressed in all black, as you can see, all black, in honor of Saturn, who holds supreme power over this lunation. So, oops, I think I also forgot to, in all this excitement, I forgot to fix the mic. So I'm gonna get to it. Please bear with me, and we will begin. All right, perfect. I hope the sound is okay. Now, let's begin by understanding that Saturn is very important, this lunation. Okay, very, very important. So, we must understand that it is his energy that is primarily coming through right now, because he had his stay in Capricorn, and now he has his stay again in Aquarius. In that way, Saturn is quite peculiar. He is the only celestial body that rules over two signs consecutively. Alright, so I begin by invoking Saturn through this very powerful Pandraka Yantra mantra. It's Om Aim Reem Shreem Shanishcharaya Namaha. Om Pranava. Aim is the Yoni beach. Reem is Durga, Rudrani's beach. And Shreem is Lakshmi's beach. And we invite the rays of Saturn through these beach sounds. Now, do not forget sonic signs, or the kymatics as it's called, is now just coming to light, that this is how water reacts when you hit it with sound. But can you imagine what the ancient rishis already knew? They knew that certain mantras or certain sounds would activate within you certain powers. It's purely science. Even the pyramids were built with sound. All right. So in India, this is happening on the 12th and the 13th India time, 2021. The first lunation, the first Amavasya. We call this the Posh Amavasya in India. And it's sort of the Amavasya Tithi begins, as in the time when you can start performing spiritual practices, begins January 12th at 12:22 p.m. and it continues on to January 13th, 10:30 a.m. in the morning. So it is overall a perfect day for Lakshmi Puja, and oftentimes many households in India do Lakshmi Puja, do Saubhagya Lakshmi Puja in fact. Now, what we must understand through this is that the energy that is coming through is Rajasic. Okay, I told you about the three gunas: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Creation comes into being by the suppression of one guna of the two other gunas. So one guna predominates. So it is very important to understand the guna that's coming forward, and that is Rajasic guna. Rajasic guna is action, because you cannot have tamasic or sattvic without the Rajasic guna. All right. So Lakshmi is Rajas, and Lakshmi is also the power of Ichha Shakti. All right, Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. So Lakshmi is Ichha Shakti, or desire. Okay, so Lakshmi is sort of reminiscent to Venus actually, because Venus gives us all things we enjoy, and Lakshmi also is the goddess, when propitiated correctly, gives us not only a Riddhi Siddhi Prapti, that means not only material goods, but ultimately moksha, ultimately liberation. So that's something we need to understand about the energy of Lakshmi. Now, exactly at 10:30 a.m. On the 13th, the sun and the moon are in exact conjunction at 23:13 of Capricorn. All right, so we keep that to about 23 degrees itself. So let us understand a bit about Capricorn. It is the domicile of Saturn, Saturn the greater malefic. All right, it is the exaltation of Mars. 28 degrees of Capricorn is the exaltation of Mars. Okay, Capricorn is the fall of Jupiter, where we've had Jupiter all this while, okay, and now Jupiter's just moved into Aquarius, right? And detriment of the moon, of course, because moon rules Cancer, right? So let us try and understand through some of the significations that Bactius Valens gives to us, an ancient Hellenistic astrologer, because all of these energies are available. It's feminine, so it's receptive, it's nurturing, tropical. It belongs to the tropics, and it also brings in the solstice. Okay, so it's a time warp kind of a thing. Barren, earthy, it's cardinal earth, of course. Destructive, because Saturn being the ruler of this particular sign, and Saturn is the greater malefic, so there is a destructive side to Capricorn. Barren, earth signs except Taurus, I think, are mostly barren, right? And downward trending because it's feminine. Chilling, because Saturn is extremely cold and extremely dry. So the touch of a Capricorn ascendant, oftentimes I've heard people say, is chilling. It chilled me when that person touched me. So it's literally like that. They feel the Saturn on you. It's also like having Saturn in the first house. You can come across as very cold, very uninvolved, okay? Servile, because you have to serve if you're in Capricorn, okay? It's all about bending the knee. I'll talk troubles, because this Capricorn being the domain of Saturn, it has to do with power play. So of course, the cause of troubles. Brutal, because Saturn is the greater malefic. Lurking, mysterious, too natured, moist, half finished. This could mean childlessness and barrenness of Capricorn. All right, a hunchback, because it supports your back. It's how you support your body. So having a problematic Capricorn could mean hunchback or lame. Descendant of the universe. I explained how Cancer is the ascendant of the universe, and how Capricorn is the descendant. Just watch my video Thema Mundi. All right. Indicative of misfortune and toil. So in Capricorn, you have to toil, and you have to toil. Okay, it's about climbing the mountains and hierarchies, like I explained. Uh, Sculptor, very people of natives of this sign can be very good sculptors. All right, sculptor, farmer, because it has to do with food again. Saturn has to do with produce. Kronos was the god of agriculture before they gave him a sickle and said, okay, he's also the god of time. In India, Shani is the brother of Yama. Yama being the god of death, and Shani, as well as his his Mahavidya Kali, they rule cycles. Okay, so warped. Oftentimes, I've heard many people say this, that Capricorn logic is warped. They see their own logic, they don't want to see beyond that. They're extreme long term planners, having that Saturn, Saturnine influence. But pretend goodness, this is what Valence says, and sincerity. They're toilsome, burdened with care, insomniacs. Yes, Capricorn, any Saturn sign can suffer from insomnia. Fond of jokes. This got me smiling, because we generally tend to think of Jupiter as a significator of jokes, right? Humor, joke, wit. But here, Valence attributes Capricorn be fond of jokes. And this is not entirely incorrect. I have experienced many Capricorns with a tremendous sense of humor, albeit a bit darkish, but a tremendously powerful sense of humor. Um plotters of good deeds. So ultimately, the Capricorn is a plotter of good deed. Told you about the three archetypes of Capricorn. So the sea goat, the mountain goat, the sea goat, and the unicorn. Finally, that's when you've climbed the mountain. You've conquered the hierarchy of the soul, right? So prone to unfortunate mistakes. Again, there's a stubborn side of Capricorn, and if you keep on, if you do not grow, if you do not learn, if you're not open, you keep on repeating the same mistakes. And this is something I have also experienced in my own 20 years of astrology work with different clients. So I've seen this, okay? But pretend that they are toilsome, burdened with care, insomniac, fond of jokes, plotters of good deeds, prone to unfortunate mistakes, fickle, lying, always criticizing, shameful. Right now, balance is clear that the middle parts are fiery, middle parts of Capricorn, but the last parts of Capricorn are destructive. All right. So yes, it's very worthwhile learning about this, because Saturn and because Capricorn and Scorpio are two signs of the dark night of the soul, Scorpio, and then ultimately initiation. So, temperament of Capricorn is melancholic. The primary temperament is melancholic, as well as the sub-temperament. So there's always this melancholy feeling that permeates in there if you have a Saturnine lunation, you know. Um so the body parts that Saturn rules, Capricorn rules: knees, bones, joints, the skeletal system, structural connective tissue. There could be spasms of the body. There could be, varicose veins, like I've got in my right hand. My right hand, because of writing and typing and making notes, I suffer from an injury to the right hand, sort of carpal tunnel syndrome, TLTF repair, and now varicose veins. So it's very painful as well. No surgery is allowed on this lunation, so take care of that. Now, the key thing that I derive from the symbology of Saturn is Saturn rules the knees. All right, and with Saturn, there's always the experience of bending the knees in humility. Okay, in not in humiliation, but in humility, being humble. Saturn teaches us restriction, so we may be humble. All right, we may always remember we are of the earth, and flying high works, but we must always bend our knees. So Saturn teaches us literally, metaphorically, to bend that knee. Now, Saturn teaches us humility. Always remember that. So the new moon is in a Saturn ruled sign. Okay, so the sun and the moon are both disposited by Saturn, right? And this means this was very interesting to me actually, because the new moon, we know that, okay, Saturn and sun are enemy planets, and the moon does not do well in a Saturn ruled sign. But it got me thinking about something Ficino said, okay? Now, Ficino said that Saturn has quite a lot to do with gold. Now, when I read this, it stopped me short, because this is what Paramhamsa Vishuddhananda of Gyanganj taught my grandfather. And this is what Surya Vigyan is all about. That is, every planet holds, at the base essence is the solar essence. At the very crux of this solar system lies the energy of the sun, who is sort of egging us forward, right? So it got me thinking about Paramhamsa Vishuddhananda, and he had told my Dadu that the sun is in all planets and gold is in all metals. All right. And if you want to know more about Surya Vigyan, please watch my videos on Gyan Ganj. Go check out my Gyan Ganj playlist. Alright? Now, remember that Saturn is very, very powerful, but he sort of works under the sun. Alright? Because why? Because this is the solar system, right? It is the simulation run by the sun. Okay? So, no matter how powerful Saturn will be, he cannot outdo the sun in his solar system. Maybe next round Saturn is ready to have his own solar system, right? Now, the 17th century alchemist, simply known as Cosmopolitan, stated that the seed which appears in Saturn is the same as that which is found in gold. So he's connecting the seed of gold and the seed of Saturn. So he's again going back essentially to the solar logos, right? His work, his life centered around wanting to prove that the seven planetary metals have grown from one common root, which is of course gold. And that is why, that is the crux of alchemy, turning metals into gold. So they thought it was viable, it was possible, because all metals within them contained gold. So, this was the very clear argument of the alchemist. He was ready to transmute or any element, base elements, into gold, because he believed that the crux of that base element was gold. Like the crux of all the planets in their soul is the sun. Alright. So, Jacob Bohm posited that gold is locked inside Saturn. Now, do we mean literal gold? We may find diamonds and all other kinds of minerals in Saturn, but I don't think he was talking about literal gold. Uh, he spoke about the possibility of having paradise on earth right now. He was a Christian theologist, so he believed that there is paradise on earth if we know how to transmute baser metals into gold, like lead into gold. And this was so interesting because maybe the sojourn of the sun through Saturn ruled Capricorn is about unlocking this gold inside us, in our soul, right? So we may resurrect quicker, so we may spiral upward quicker, right? So it's all about changing this inner lead to gold. Remember that. Okay, so the new moon is in Decan 3 of Capricorn, which is of course domicile is Saturn ruled, and also by the sun. So this cements my idea that sun moving through this astrological sign of Capricorn will unlock the gold in our inner self and create alchemy within. That is what the alchemists were trying to do. Create, from a baser human being, create a human being of gold, whose heart will be of gold. We still use these words today, heart of gold, right? Has a deep esoteric meaning actually. Now, this is so powerful because this is the sun ruling this decan made my day. I was really happy about it. And now this decan is Virgo triplicity. Okay, and Virgo triplicity is of course the ruler is Mercury, right? So Saturn domicile ruler, Mercury is the decan ruler through Virgo triplicity, as it happens in 23 degrees, which is the last decan of Capricorn. Okay, now the tarot card for that is the Four of Pentacles, which could be about holding things close, not letting it go, or just being a miser, or just being someone well versed with business, as we might put it in this day and age, right? And this is of course the card of Capricorn, Saturn himself in that card, not Satan but Saturn, who is karma, and karma is no bitch. Okay, karma is an immutable cosmic reality, an immutable cosmic force. Never forget that. A new moon is in the fourth term of Capricorn, which belongs to Saturn. So we see Saturn, domicile ruler, Mercury, decan ruler, Virgo, triplicity, Saturn back again, bam, ruling the term. This is the fourth term of Capricorn. Now, the significations of this term are very important because we are going to be channeling these significations into our very being as this lunation goes exact. So, severe, cheerless, alien, unlucky with their children and brothers, bloody and destructive, cold, pitiless, standoffish, malicious, slow to act but tricky. So this is a malefic term. So immediately we see this double Saturnine influence. Okay, Saturn domicile, Saturn term makes it, and Saturn is the ultimate dispositor in the chart. So makes it very, very Saturnine. And it is all about getting the correct planetary rays. If you get the correct rays, you get the correct manifestation. If you do not get the correct rays, then you do not get the benefic rays, you get the malefic rays. And that's when problems begin to occur. Sarasati can be the most productive time in one's life. Sarasati can be the most destructive time in one's life. Okay, so it's about what rays you are channeling. So mantras, spiritual practices, frequency of planets, establishing a connection with the diamond of that planet. These things are important. Right? Now looking at the pattern of this chart is a bundle formation. Now bundles are pretty tricky, alright, because it's a very rare formation, bundles and bowls. But 2020 and 2021 are very interesting years because these are the years when the bundle and the bowl becomes common. This is so interesting. I was shocked. So all planets are within 4 signs, 120-degree trine. All right, that's what forms a bundle. So basic significations of a bundle: self-directed, content with owns strength, powerful. There's power within. Not looking for external feedback, and this is oftentimes taken as the hero's quest. Okay, so the archetype of the hero's journey. The bundle and the bowl are so rare, and it's so interesting that these years we are going to experience so much, because from 2020 and especially 2021 to June the 2nd, 2024, Pluto is the leading Pluto and Uranus is the leading planet, will be in less than 1/3 of the chart, which Aquarius papers Robert Wilkinson calls a great compression. So this is going to make bundles possible, and that is so amazing because bundles are so rare. Remember, people, we are in very rare planetary times indeed. Okay, do not think for a moment that this is not what your soul has asked for. This is not what your soul has planned, because your soul has planned for this. Let's discuss a few sun moon aspects. We've got a lot to cover. So the sun and the moon are obviously in a conjunction. They are one on top of the other. And this is the coming together of the male and the female, the activation of the lingam, when Shakti grounds the lingam, moon being the Shakti, sun being the masculine. At least in the Western esoteric system that is so. However, in Tantra, the moon is the Parambindu, or white, or male, and the sun is Shakti, or female. In Kolachara, this is what we are taught. So very interesting. So there's also a conjunction of Sun and Pluto. Remember all this activation that happened in Capricorn. Now the Sun is bringing his light, his warmth, his compassion. Sun is also a primeval sort of intelligence. He's bringing that to what happened in Capricorn, so we may get peace. So, we may begin to see things in a new light, right? Moon and Venus are parallel, almost like a conjunction. Love of luxury, very charming. People with Moon parallel Venus or Moon conjunct Venus. I have a Moon Venus opposition, which is applying, and it's 0 degrees of opposition. Very funny. Now, okay, so we've gone through the Moon. Pluto is also about to be conjunct, and this is about psychosis for many people. For many people, this is, cracking open the psyche with lunar light, and the prana and apana coming together in the Ida Nadi and awake, giving you the nectar, because that's what Ida Nadi gives you, nectar. So we've got the sun and the moon in the 11th house. I drew my chart from Bombay. Very interesting. It's the house of good spirit. It's a benefic house, both in Vedic as well as Hellenistic. And the ascendant is Pisces. So the domicile ruler is Jupiter. I use traditional rulerships. The exaltation ruler is Venus. And Mercury is in fall, and Mercury is in detriment. Why? Because Mercury is exalted on that 15 degrees of Virgo. So Mercury is in fall in Pisces as well as in detriment, because Mercury also rules Virgo. Okay, now we see Jupiter is in Aquarius. 5 degrees 36 of Aquarius in Decan 1, which is ruled by Saturn. Okay, Saturn, and this is the 12th house. The term ruler is Mercury. So we see Saturn, Mercury influences permeating over the Lord of the Ascendant. And Jupiter's had a lot of Saturn, if you ask me. Okay, he's been in Capricorn, where he was in fall, and he had Saturn close to him, he had Pluto, and now he's in Aquarius. He's the sole ruler. But from a materialistic point of view, he's still in that house of a malefic, the greater malefic. So, it's not like the problem is still solved unless we operate from a more soul-centric spiritual view, which could happen, which I think is happening in a little by little baby steps we are taking towards that. Now Saturn is, now let's get to Venus. Alright, Venus is also in Capricorn at about 5 degrees 42 in the 11th house. And 11th house is where Jupiter has planetary joy. So Venus in that house is always very comfortable in the 11th house. You can even petition Jupiter for whatever you petition to Venus. That says the Pico tricks, by the way. Now, Decan 1 of Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. We know that. It is the night domicile, earth domicile of Saturn. Although Saturn is a diurnal planet and does well in day charts, not in night charts. Okay? So the term ruler of Venus is also Mercury. So we have this kind of mercurial influence permeating in the air, and Mercury is going to start going retrograde. That all these planets congregate in Aquarius. There's going to be quite the party, I tell you. So Saturn, so the term signification was interesting here. Saturn's term ruler, rich, miserly, hoarding wealth, reminded me of the Four of Pentacles, which is the card of this decan, if you ask me. So it reminded me of this. A hoarding wealth, intelligent, learned in the law, precisely defining everything. Loving, education, alright, arrogant, petty, overseeing, okay, it's always sort of overseeing everything, careworn. So the Venus is, the term ruler of Venus is Mercury, okay. Now theatrical, comic, on the stage, lying, whoring, seducing, covetous of others, things of no reputation. So Venus is in that part of Capricorn, which is pretty salacious. talented in everything, as well as talent. Blessed, wealthy, but not of high rank. So Venus in this zone has a few problems, not of high rank, okay, but talented in everything, but is given to licentiousness, adultery, lying, whoring, and all of that, seducing and covetous of others' things. So there's that iffy energy of Venus that's coming through. And Capricorn is very, very sensual. People do not understand that. They think that, oh, Capricorns are cold, it's a Saturn ruled sign, how passionate can they be? Wrong. Looking at the elemental composition of the chart, two planets are in fire, four are in air, six are in earth, two are in water. So a pretty well balanced, except the Lord is in earth. So in earth means, we need to touch base with what's real, what's, not get lost in speculation or in the mental space just yet. We are getting there with all of this Aquarius activation, as well as the North Node being in Gemini, complete air activation, and Saturn Pluto activating that 200 year cycle plus year cycle in air triplicities. Very interesting. And not much in fire or water. So, passion or just inspiration could be wanting, as well as emotions, of course. So, dispositors. Let's look at dispositors, right? So, the sun is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the dispositor of the sun. The moon, Saturn, is the dispositor. Mercury is in Aquarius in the 12th house. Saturn is the dispositor. Venus is in Capricorn. Saturn is again the dispositor. Mars is in Taurus. This activates hardcore fixed squares, which I'll get to soon, right? And Mars is ruled by Venus, disposited by Venus. Venus again in Capricorn, disposited by Saturn. Everything is coming back to Saturn. Now we've got Jupiter in Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius, ruled by himself. Uranus again ruled by Venus, because he's in Taurus and he's retrograde. So he's going to be going head to head with Mars and Saturn and all of these squares. That's just going to start brewing fanatically in Taurus, Aquarius. Not a fake sign activation. We've got Uranus in the third retrograde, ruled by Venus. We've got Neptune